Savage Dragon 104 from October of 2002. It's wedding bells for the ever-loving dragon. You may kiss the bride. This wedding apparently more successful than the first try, though Angel does not seem to think so. This cover itself a callback to issue 62. A little more steamy on this one, but another pivotal issue of the series. So let's check it out. As always, the credits: Eric Larson, writer-artist; Chris Eliopoulos, letterer; Ruben Rude, colorist; and Josh Eghorn is stranded at the drive-in, branded a fool, which is a greasy Travolta reference. A new beginning, a huge turning point for the series, and Dragon himself, seen here in a full-page, extreme close-up, saying, "Oh my God." A nice headshot of Dragon here. I always thought Larson drew some of the best peepers in comics. Very recognizable. Just look at these big, wet, green eyes kind of pulling you in. So what has our hero so stunned? Bam! Just a huge field of rubble and rocks floating in space, previously occupied by the planet Earth. So last issue, we saw parallel stories of the devourer of the world universe. He was defeated by a dragon in one world, while another is successfully destroyed right after Malcolm and Angel escape to Dimension X before the planet is consumed. But Dragon doesn't know this, so everyone he's ever loved and known, gone, completely gone, and there's nothing he could do to save it. So I'm kind of reminded of, there's just an asteroid field here in the place of Earth, and I'm reminded of like Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. The Millennium Falcon comes out of hyperspace and they hit an asteroid field, and Han Solo was like, "What the hell? There's no Alderaan." And Luke is like, "Oh, geez, what do you mean? Where is it?" And Han's like, "That's what I'm trying to tell you, kid. It ain't there." Then there's like a TIE fighter chase, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's like, "That's no moon." Anyway, exactly like that is what we're dealing with here. So Dragon returns home to the only home he has left, the Savage World, where Jennifer and Angel and Rex Dexter await his arrival through the dimensional portal here. And he breaks the news to everyone, and he's obviously devastated. Though he's kind of uniquely affected by this, though, because nobody else here has the same relationship with this non-existent planet. It's just kind of an absurd notion to grieve for a world you didn't know existed. So it's understandable to see Angel's reaction here, and she's like, "What's the big deal?" And Dragon breaks down again. Jennifer consoles him. But Angel hits another great one-liner and asks, "Are you really going to marry this crybaby?" Because that's right, we have a wedding to get to. It's not all doom and gloom in this issue. This is where the story starts to turn into kind of a series of 3-panel gags, like Dragon was in a comic strip in the Sunday paper. Larson able to lighten the mood, show his comedic chops, and also do some character development. Fans have written in to express their mixed thoughts on this kind of bizarre relationship, and it's refreshing to see that the characters themselves have some of the very same concerns that we've read in these very letters pages. So they acknowledge, like, yes, this is weird, but we're going through with it. Dragon has a nice chat with Officer Alex Wilde, the only other survivor he knows from his previous life. And they've got a complicated history, and it seems like there might be some mixed emotions on this wedding day. Plenty of heroes in attendance. Angel doesn't know what to make of all these weirdos. So the wedding goes off without a hitch. The vows and this kiss. Congratulations by all the guests. Plenty of familiar faces, including some unofficial cameos by Batman and Superman over there. And am I seeing things, or is that John Day as the priest right there? I believe so. We've got more wedding hijinks. We got a bouquet toss, the cutting of the cake, the first dance, and then that night, instead of consummating the marriage, Dragon crashes on the couch so Angel can sleep in the bed with her mom. This is kind of the return of Family Man Dragon. As outrageous as this comic can be, it really shines when it's juxtaposed against the mundane and the domestic family issues. Really makes the story more relatable. Because at its heart, this is basically about a guy trying to gain the trust of a stepchild who wants nothing to do with him. And this version of Angel is not happy about this new green-skinned freak coming into their life, getting in between her and her mother, and she states her displeasure to her parents, matter-of-factly. So in order to have some family bonding, they're taking a road trip to the Grand Canyon. Of course, they fight a monster along the way. It's not a Savage Dragon comic unless someone gets punched in the face. Got to have some action. And after the battle, Dragon scores some points with Angel, getting her some food from McDonald's so she won't have to eat her mom's trail mix. And a Happy Meal is all it takes to win the kid over. She hugs the dragon and says that he's the best dad ever, so we got a victory there. Now here is the first appearance of Mr. Glum, or Bagoom the Merciless, he calls himself there. A very unremarkable introduction for such a pivotal character. Seems like this could have been a one-page gag, but Larson realized he had something here with Mr. Glum, and he runs with it. So the diminutive villain is just teleported into the story as after he declares his desires to vanquish the mighty Savage Dragon. Then he appears in front of Angel, who believes him to be some kind of like living doll. So she throws a flowery apron on him and throws a make-believe tea party with Mr. Glum. In fact, she even presents her new toy to Dragon, and he tries to find where to put the batteries. And again, each of these strips here reads like a three-panel gag, a punchline at the end of each one, reminiscent of, if you remember reading like Desperate Times by Chris Eliopoulos, very familiar to fans here, has that similar kind of vibe. But anyway, in this final gag, on this page here, Mr. Glum's teleportation device is broken by Angel, leaving him stranded here as the plaything of a young child, and his desire to kill the dragon and conquer the world always bubbling under the surface, kind of a classic trope, the devil in plain sight, similar to like Invader Zim, but there seems to be plenty of varied inspiration baked into the DNA of Mr. Glum here, almost kind of a mix of like Marvin the Martian and Stewie Griffin, a real enfant terrible, pardon my French. Maybe a little Great Gazoo in there as well. Anyway, more to come. But this one leaves off with Jennifer, a.k.a. Smasher, wearing the uniform of Dragon's dead wife and joining the Liberty League. So hooray. On to Fanatics. Relatively short this issue, only a couple of pages, but it starts off with Larson saying that he's been wanting to do this for a long, long time. He had regretfully killed off Dragon's wife back in issue 62, which kind of denied him to have the dragon go on adventures as a family man. And he's excited to see where he can take the story from here. Definitely feels like a turning point and that the possibilities are abundant. Nothing too noteworthy here in this truncated letters page, though Larson mentions that he had an alternate name for Mother Mayhem, which was Afterbirth. Appropriate, I suppose, but I think Mother Mayhem is the superior name, in my opinion. Next is Dragon Boy by superfan Brent Ingstrom. He's gone from the letters page here to his own backup story, which is actually colored by Larson himself. Kind of a fun, cartoony story about a dragon mashup with Brent's character Monkey Boy. And this amalgam of Dragon and Monkey Boy, they fight some of Dragon's villains. I really like the look of these pages. Some dynamic action, really nice use of color by Larson. He did a good job here. About 6 pages, not too shabby. And it's a two-part story continued next month. Followed up with a pinup here by Ryan Sook, working artist to this very day, doing a lot of covers for DC. Next is Comic Bits by Chris Giarrusso, and actually a direct follow-up to last month's strip, so we got some continuity in there. An ad for some Savage Dragon trade paperbacks. And finally, the McFarlane Toys Image Comics 10th Anniversary action figures. Pretty good looking stuff. But that does it for this one. Next is issue 105. Adios.